Hello, everybody, and welcome to En Route. Today's topic is about mothers. A few things happened along my journey that has made me want to to make a video about this. But I did write something earlier that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, that made me want to actually, I wrote this and then I was like, you know what, I should just make a video about it. And so essentially there was this video of this mother who clearly was having some sort of mental breakdown, and she was found with her two young boys frozen, and they died because she was having some paranoia and she wasn't being able to trust. She had some weird trust issues with everyone, and she didn't want to be around certain people, and so she got real paranoid and she'd ran away with her children into the cold of the night, and they were found somewhere frozen, all three of them. And it's really sad to think about this, but I thought to myself, like, of course something like this could happen, especially with how everything is going down. Now, I want to go back. First, I'm gonna read you this comment. Mothers aren't getting the proper help and nutrition they need. You must supplement, and eat extremely healthy, or essentially you'll lose your mind, especially after having 3 kids. The children take a lot out of the mother's body, even calcium. That's why some moms lose their teeth after childbirth. This is why you should only have kids if you can actually afford to heal from the aftermath properly. Never help a man pay bills and then at the same time also have kids unless you're super healthy and healed, and preferably if the kids are in school. And I put that American women rarely fully heal after birth unless they are rich, or not rich, but just really financially well off. And that's why a lot of women, especially single mothers, they end up going through a bunch of mental breakdowns, and they seem crazy, or they seem unhinged, or they seem like just messed up in some way. They never fully heal. And then so that's, why they go through breakdowns without proper nutrition and rest. And so I was saying you must eat good for the brain, and I added a tip about how coconut oil, a spoon of coconut oil, has a lot of fat, and how it can help feed the brain, because the brain needs to eat a lot of fat to stay functioning properly. And the less fat that you have in your diet, the less your brain is able to be functional and fire properly. And especially if you're burning sugar, glucose, if you're sugar burning, that's even worse. And what I was saying before, what I really wanted to bring up is, there was an experiment about. Hold on, let me look it up really quick. So there was an experiment that was trying to show how the food that you eat affects your brain. And there was an experiment done on a population of inmates at a certain jail, which I am trying to look for. I'm gonna try and find the experiment like here. So, okay. So there was a study that was trying to cut inmate violence. Ugh. So they were trying to figure out how they can stop the inmates from being more violent. And so they're doing, several experiments. And the most interesting part of this experiment, in short, okay. So like I was saying, so one of the things that is here, I'm on sciencefocus.com, and I'm reading an article about how small changes to prison food drastically cut inmate violence. And I'm sure it'll have something about that experiment in here. But something about how I was talking about fat earlier on. Decades of research have found a relationship between nutritional status and childhood behavior. Omega-3 fatty acids make up about 35% of the brain cell membranes are important for neurons to send and receive messages. So what I was saying is that a lot of women, they are not firing properly because they don't have enough fat for their brain, because it's all been sucked out, and to the point where, yes, even some women lose so much calcium when they have children. So they even their bones are brittle. So clearly it's a nutritional deficiency. That's why our population is on the decline when it comes to health, because it's a nutritional deficiency. And one of the biggest deficiencies that most of this population has is a magnesium deficiency, which is literally the worst deficiency that you could possibly have, because magnesium is responsible for the absorption and for the process of so many things in the body, that it's just the one thing, if you were going to remove from the body and screw up society, would be magnesium. And so with that, going back to the omega-3 intake, so here, even what I just said, this is in the article. It says, in fact, according to a study published in March 2021 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, low omega-3 fatty acids intake during pregnancy is associated with a smaller brain size in childhood. Another research paper published in the Journal of Pediatrics. So not only is the mother going to get hindered from this, but if the mother doesn't have enough omega-3 fatty acids in her diet and her nutrition, the child is also going to have problems with it as well. They're going to have nutritional problems. They're going to have brain problems. They're going to have issues, firing, cognitive issues. They're going to be slower. But if you change the nutrition, if you provide those omega-3, and this is the problem. Our society is so fast-paced that we don't even allow mothers to properly heal after they have children. And in fact, we make life harder for them. We don't even properly pay mothers for leave, and it's just like we're creating and generating and forming the future, and yet we are treated as shit. And then we wonder why the future seems to be more and more sick, mentally ill. And that is because we're not properly being taken care of as women. We're not giving ourselves the proper nutrition intake that's going to actually take to handle pregnancy and handle what that does, and how much energy and how much nutrients and how much of yourself actually goes into that child. And that's why for so many decades, they made sure that women stayed virgin till marriage, because you could never, if you risked having a child with the wrong person, it could mean death. And even if you did have a child with the right person under the right circumstances and everything, you had money to actually heal, you had food to actually, you could still end up dying during childbirth. So at that, all of these risk factors, and yet women don't take care of themselves properly, and we're starting to dish out a more and more unhealthier world. And it is because people do not understand anything about nutrition. Yes, you go to the pharmaceutical companies, you get a prescription, you know about chemicals, but do you know about how to feed yourself, what your brain actually needs to fire properly and not be a mess? And this is literally one of the biggest problems that we have in society. It's not, and the thing is, it's not only women. Men are a big factor in this as well. They're the other half of the population, and even in the populations of criminal inmates, we see that giving them better nutrition literally brings up their IQ and makes them less violent. So what it is that people are irritable due to the not having the ability to properly fire and not having the ability to actually think clearly because their nutrition isn't up. It's just insane. It's like, oh, I didn't sleep for 3 days, but you're supposed to be functioning at perfect. It's like, no, if you haven't given your body the nutrition that it actually needs for 3 days, what do you think? You're going to be perfect? Yeah, you may have got some sleep. Maybe you drank some water, but if you're not giving your body what it needs, you're not going to properly work. No one's going to properly work. And you need to know what you need. And sometimes, you know, and that's another thing, like we as a whole group of people in America, we haven't properly learned how to feel our bodies. Like we're not intuitive as much anymore. We haven't learned to be more connected to ourselves and really know what's going on. Like, oh, I'm not getting enough fat this week. Okay. Oh, I'm eating too much sugar. Okay. Like we're not in tune to that. It's like a lot of people are not in tune to their body's reaction to certain things. Like eat something. Do this experiment. Eat something. And then ask yourself how eating that made you feel. What does it do to your biology? Sit there with it and don't eat anything else. Start to learn how to actually train yourself and teach yourself how to become healthier. Because man, I literally, like my whole life have been so malnourished, and I am finally now just learning how to properly take care of myself, because I had to raise myself and figure it out on my own. And now that I've become more in tune with my body, I realize, wow, so many people have this issue. Like so many people just don't know how to properly take care of themselves. And this goes into another thing too. The meat. I did an experiment a few weeks ago where I purchased grass-fed meat, okay? And then I purchased the regular standard meat that you would just get. You know, I think it was USDA, but it wasn't like no grass-fed or anything. It was just some farmed, like industrialized farmed cow meat. And I grilled them both up the same. I seasoned them the same. I did everything the same. And then I tried both of them. And the difference was absolutely insane. The difference between the grass-fed and the just regular way that, well, not the regular, it's really not a good way. Like it's just, it doesn't make sense the way we do it. You know, it's like we have so many issues, like we want so many, like it's just, Back in the day, people would literally ask their neighbor for their goat to mow the lawn, and now we just leave these cows in factories eating corn and grain and expecting them to thrive, even though they're like grazing animals. And I just find it so funny, like, because we're so backwards here. We always want things to be easy, but the difference of this meat was so insane that it's like, wow, like, it's almost like this meat was trash and the grass-fed meat was just like golden. It was just amazing. It was incredible. And I was learning something about the meat that we're having. And you know how they're talking about how the meat gives you cancer and you need to stop eating the meat and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Unorganic, antibiotic, factory farm raised, grain raised cows will give you tumors, cancers, and plenty of diseases and probably make you go insane. But if you eat grass-fed meat, the effect is the complete opposite. It will exponentially raise your health. And it is actually super good for you, super healthy for you, because it's like, and I saw this, someone said this example. It's the difference between do you want to eat a person that was sitting on the couch all day eating potato chips, watching TV, or do you want to eat the Olympic athlete that was out there, working out and, keeping up with their body? Who do you think is going to provide the better nutrients, a better quality of nutrients, a better concentrated quality nutrients? Who do you think is going to provide that for you when it comes to meat? The athlete who's actually taking care of their body. And so you sit here and you think, oh, I'm going to eat somebody who's fat, who's sitting on their couch eating potato chips, who has tumors and cancer, and then I'm thinking that I'm not going to also get those things? Not on top of the fact they're eating something that's not even compatible with their biology, so that's why they're getting these cancers and tumors. Things that it's not even compatible for our biology. Corn's good, but it's not really something that you should be eating all the time. There's a reason why you see corn in your poop. It's not compatible with a lot of animals' biology, like chickens. And again, I understand why we use corn, and it's a great filler, but at the end of the day, it's not helping your meat be healthy. And this is exactly why industrialized farming is such a mess, because they sit here and say, oh, we need to kill all the chickens, but do you understand that the industrialized chickens that are in these enclosed hardly ventilated tunnels are essentially living in their own feces, and the whole place smells like ammonia, and the only way for them to actually put this food out in a humane way is to feed them antibiotics in their food from birth, so the birds don't even have their own immune system, and then you expect to be healthy. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I get that the industrialized farming is designed to feed and help a lot of people because it can be expensive to go about things in a more humane way. But the later cost, the cost that's going down the road, is your life, our lives, the people's lives. We're going to pay for this convenience. We're all going to pay for this convenience one day. And it's just going to keep getting worse and more expensive and harder to do things the right way if we continue to always do things the easy way. And this is my talk about nutrition. Nutrition is literally the number one thing that this whole society needs to fix. America specifically. Western culture specifically. So yeah, that is all I have to say about that. That is all I have to say about that.